The CGA Tour, a podcast unlike any other. Now your host, Glen Alexander.
Hey Cowboy fans, today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. Oakley helps with home, auto, life, and business insurance, working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow poke helping you protect what matters most. Welcome back to the latest episode of the CGA Tour podcast. As always, here I'm Glen Alexander, hence the name, and I am rejoined as now a recurring guest here on the podcast, Tyler Adams. Tyler Teabag Adams, maybe a better way to say it. For some of you know him from WWLS Sports Animal. Tyler, thanks so much for joining again.
Yeah, absolutely. Not really a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I don't know. Not much going on, right?
All's well. All's well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've got, I don't know, would you rank this Tulsa game? Is this the biggest game of our season so far? Kind of up there. It seems.
I wish it was Oregon. I mean, I wish it was Oregon because, like, even if they went and lost like 42-20 or something, I would be like, oh yeah, that was still the biggest game. You know, valiant effort. They got their ass kicked, but valiant effort. But that was not the case. So yeah, now we're looking Tulsa dead in the eyes. What is it? 13 and a half point line out there. I would stay away. I would stay away from the line. If you're a betting man, I would just especially if you're an OSU fan, just don't get hurt by that. But yeah, I mean, up until this point, it's sadly this is a big game. I don't like the Tulsa game being a big game.
Yeah, I don't either. I am worried about it and worried that I had some Tulsa fans on and kind of guys who are Tulsa alums on the podcast, and they both think, hey, maybe we'll upset you guys this year. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not a good sign. They think there's a possibility they're going to beat us in Stillwater for the first time in 74 years. So I don't love that, I will say. But what do you think the expectations are for the game here? I mean, are we gonna should we cover that spread? Is there maybe a hey, Zane's got a Zane train going or something like that following Friday night's game?
I think, yes, they should cover the spread. If this team can't rebound off a bye week after getting thoroughly embarrassed, and I mean thoroughly embarrassed against Oregon, if they can't fight for their coaches, if they don't put up that will to show out and be like, hey, we're not that bad, like that Oregon game, maybe not an anomaly isn't the right word, but that Oregon game isn't who we are. We're better than that. If they can't come out and cover this spread and win this game, I think that's a horrible sign for the season going forward. I'm already pretty pessimistic on the season going forward, but I'm going to be even more pessimistic if they lose this game, they're not going to win another game. Maybe they get lucky in one Big 12 game, maybe. But if they go out and they win this game by 9 points or something, and it's a ball game up until 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be sitting there and having a celebratory beer or anything, you know. Actually, I might, because I'd be like, okay, let's enjoy a win while we got one. But you got to go out there and you got to make a statement in this game. You are better than Tulsa, no matter what people say, no matter the quote upset alert or anything. You're better than Tulsa. You got to go out there and you got to beat them. I mean, you have to. You have to beat them by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns. At bare minimum, you have to cover that spread.
Yeah, going into the season, I would think, hey, Tulsa should be a win, and then will there be some Big 12 games that are normally, Cincinnati, Houston, Arizona, etc. I'm like, all right, you know what, the schedule shapes up, we should knock off a couple wins. And now all of a sudden, it looks like Cincinnati might be okay. It looks like Houston might be okay. They might be they could be 4-0 after this weekend, which seems insane. And then Arizona beating K-State. I don't know what to make of K-State whatsoever. I don't know what to make of Arizona with that being said, too. So it just seems like, and, of course, we played Baylor to open up the Big 12 schedule before then. So this seems like the last possible win of the season. But are your expectations kind of in the same boat as mine, that there's not another Big 12 game where we're not favored in a game after this weekend? So it seems pretty bleak, but maybe I'm too bleak about it.
The only game the only game I could see OSU being a favorite in for the rest of the schedule, outside of Tulsa, obviously, once you hit conference play, is Kansas State. And that's only because I think Kansas State could hit a downward spiral here. And maybe OSU's like a 1.5 point favorite or 1.5 favorite at home in late November against, a 2-2-7 teams or something going at it. Like, I don't think K-State's that bad. Like, I think they'll rattle off a few conference wins. They're not as good as we thought. Avery Johnson's not as good as we thought. But that's the only game when I'm looking at the schedule where I say maybe that game they're going to be favored in. Maybe. Outside of that, no, they're not going to be favored in any games.
Yeah, it's tough. Not being favored for homecoming is a real weird deal to be able to say out loud, especially when homecoming for so many years was like Kansas or Cincinnati or Houston or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And now all those games look like, man, we've got those teams at home and still there's no way. I mean, Texas Tech and Houston might be the top two teams in the Big 12. Game Day might go there after this weekend. They're both 4-0, although who am I kidding? Game Day's not going to a Big 12 game, I guess. So no. They're going to go to see SEC at SEC for the 30th time, and a 1-2 team for the first time in 20 years. But besides the point about game day here, I want to ask you about Zane. Of course, you've got, I wouldn't say night and day type of deal. You've got the UT Martin game, which seems really weird in hindsight of how Zane played. Was he kind of were we not seeing the whole playbook? Those were kind of the ideas, right? Of, hey, we're holding it back for Oregon. We don't know what we have yet. Oh, wait, we learned kind of later on Haas is out for at least five games. That seems rough. But then after the Oregon game, you got to be throwing everything at the wall, you would figure. But then again, it didn't seem like the playbook was open whatsoever for any type of, deep passes down the field. Not that Zane had the time. So all of that's to say, do you think Zane's just not as good as maybe we had hoped? Do you think his play calling's been kind of subdued? Or is this just really hard to tell 2 games in against 2 vastly different opponents?
I think we're going to find out a lot about Zane on Friday against Tulsa. Obviously, if he goes out there and throws for 350 yards, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to do that every game from here on out because the competition is just going to be tougher in Big 12 play. I'm not necessarily throwing the towel in on him either because that Oregon game, that's one of the most unfair positions a quarterback could be in for his first start. Being fed to the Wolves on the road in Autzen, massive underdog. So I think it's too early. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be a top 5, top 10 Big 12 quarterback. I don't think he's a top half Big 12 quarterback. But I think it's too early to just throw the towel in on him. But the early signs are not pointing well. There's never been, outside of that one throw to, was it Terrell Davis in the UT Martin game? I can't remember who it was to. Maybe Christian. No, it wasn't Fitzpatrick. I think it's Terrell Davis. Outside that one throw he made in the UT Martin game, there just hasn't been a play where we go, all right, wow, look at that. There just really hasn't been that. So I'm not going to throw in the towel in, but at the same time, like I'm not optimistic about the quarterback play this season if Haas is injured for longer than 5 weeks. So yeah, I mean, I think this Tulsa game will kind of get a clear cut answer of what the Pokes be working with at quarterback.
And on the other, on the same side of the ball, but in the backfield as well, running back wise, did you have any idea that we'd be kind of here where there'd be 5 running backs? And I don't know what to do with all of them. I don't know who's to stand out. It's not the Georgia State guy who transferred in, Freddie Brock. It's not Rodney Fields Jr. It's not Trent Howland. It seems like Trent Howland may be able to run the Wildcat, but for one play really well. And there's just so many different things that I'm saying in my head. I want to give hope for this weekend. I want to give hope for the rest of the season. But I'm also caught up with Zane's got 20 completions through 2 games and 3 quarters of football. Haas has 5 completions through 1 quarter of football, right? Like, just the stats here are just so bleak when you think about Oklahoma State football overall. I'm curious what you think of kind of the whole position groups.
with the running back room, I'm surprised that Trent Haaland didn't get more run in that Oregon game. He was the one spark they had for that awesome 16-play, 70-yard drive that led to 3 points. That was like the highlight of the game. So I was surprised they didn't run the hot hand with him more. Caleb Hicks, I mean, he runs hard. He kind of reminds me of like Javonte Barnes at OU, where it's like he's running hard, he's giving valiant effort, tip of the cap, but at the same time, you don't really see that flash. And then Rodney Fields, that was his first game back, so I'm interested to see, how he progresses at the season. I'm still fairly high on him. I mean, how high are we on any of these players right now? I don't know. And then, like you said, Freddie Brock, I don't think it's going to be him, but I mean, Trent Haaland, I would like to see him get more run, but I don't know if we're going to. So,
yeah, it's a small sample size with Trent. I mean, 6 attempts on the season for 31 yards. So I don't know, but I'm with you. I would rather see the bigger guy who's 6'2", 247 be able to go up against the Oregon defense a little bit more and, of course, open up the playbook a little bit. Do you think this is hey, we don't have Haas, Zane's more of a pocket passer, we're going to run the same Gundy offense, or this is more of listen, like, Zane is who he is. He's been in the program for 3 years. He should know the system a little bit better, because this to me looks pretty similar to the Casey Dunn system we were running of old from last season. And I know I'm not the first one to say that either.
Yeah, this is definitely a Mike Gundy system that's put in place right now. It's almost like if me and you were sitting down watching a game together, I bet if we both took a guess, like wrote down before, like on a magic whiteboard, what play they're going to run, I bet me or you would probably get it right every time. Like if there's a 50-50 shot, you're going to be able to guess the play. Screen pass, right at the middle, run on third down, random deep ball, no creativity, no guys in motion. Just we can expect, or we can see the writing on the wall before the plays even happen. So yeah, with Zane, it's just he should know the system better. But then again, it's just like that Oregon game was just so bad everywhere. It's just hard to. And I know you're not trying to pinpoint anything on him. I know that's not what you're trying to say, but it's just hard to like say that he's a problem or he's not going to be good, because everything was a problem and no one was good. Nothing. The coaching was bad. The lack of what was bad. The effort was bad. Everything was bad. And when that's bad all around you, it's going to set a quarterback up to fail. And so I don't know. If you can't tell, I'm pretty down on the dumps on kind of everything going on right now with this program. And that just kind of stays the same as Zane.
I gotta say, knowing that you're talking with WWLS guys, and I've got plenty of friends who most of my high school teams went to OU and from Oklahoma City. Kind of sucks that this year OU looks pretty good and has a Heisman Trophy guy, whereas last year we both could kind of commiserate a little bit and be like, hey, this kind of sucks for a while. Then OU ends up beating Alabama, and we don't win a game. I mean, we won 3 games last year. So it is like a weird state of the program. What I've been most interested by is, what will Gundy do? It seems like there's always that in-state rivalry. He's an Oklahoma guy as well, too. Do you think he does anything during the season here to mix it up a little bit more, to do some more crazy offensive play calls, to really try to, I don't know, just do a bunch more blitzes and tell, hey, at Todd Grantham, we're going to blitz the crap out of everyone now because we can't let them get time behind the line?
I hope so. Do I think it's going to happen? I lean no, because I feel like Gundy is pretty set in his ways on the way he does things. And it's worked, but it's not working now, and it didn't work last season. So I hope so, because you got to switch something up. Something's got to be switched. Like, obviously, something has to change. And hopefully they've worked on adjustments during the bye week on, the stuff you're talking about with, switching up the playbook, blitzing more on defense, which I think you should blitz more on defense, because the defensive line, although they're not as good as what we were hoping for, that probably still is the strong suit of your team, is that defensive line in front 7. So putting more pressure on the opposing team quarterback. But I venture to say we're not really going to see a whole lot of that Like, I don't. If we haven't seen that after 3-9 and the first 2 games of this season, and we didn't see it against Oregon when you truly had nothing to lose, you had nothing to lose in that game, I don't think we're going to see it. I don't. I hope I'm wrong. I pray I'm wrong.
Well, the last time I had you on was right before the first game of the season, before UT Martin.
Oh, we were so happy.
And we were excited. It was like enthusiasm. But I want to say, maybe I'm an idiot, because when I talk with friends, I mean, I definitely am for a lot of variety of reasons, but maybe I was just really just trying to be just really just gritting through my teeth, looking in the mirror like, nah, it'll be better. And I've got the clown face on now, because going into the season, if you had told me X college is bringing in a new offensive coordinator who their head coach has worked with, and he's an inside wide receivers coach, and the previous offensive coordinator was a wide receivers coach. The defensive coordinator has not been calling plays to the last program he was at, and their quarterback transferring in with the offensive coordinator is going to hurt his foot in the first game in the first quarter. I'd go, yeah, and they've got to go to Oregon. Probably not going to do anything. But coming to the season, I go, hey, you never know. And now I'm thinking, I'm an idiot. How would I not see this? This was the whole entire thing all along. Gundy had power over both coordinators. He hired them in, gets them a huge pay increase from where they were previously. Neither of them were previously calling plays. So when it comes down to brass tacks, I'm sure Gundy's got the final say, and there's really no pushback whatsoever, I would guess. So should I have just seen this coming? Is this all just like, hey, was the hope really just never actually there, and I should have seen it coming a while ago?
Yeah, we're idiots, big time. If you went and looked at the last time we did a podcast together, me and you probably sound like the dumbest guys in the world looking at it now, because we did have some hope. We had some belief. I remember going through the schedule with you, be like, hey, man, if they can get through the beginning of conference play 3-1, this could be a pretty decent, fun season where you're kind of in the mix, through October, maybe a little November. And that's just completely out the window. And then, when you look at it, the hire of Doug Meacham, I think we were all just so excited to have a new offensive coordinator here for the first time in 5-6 seasons, however long Dunn was calling plays. But then you brought up OU. It's like, look what OU did. They went and they found the young hot shot. Now, I know it's OU. It's going to be easier for them to attract an offensive coordinator than what Oklahoma State is. But why couldn't Oklahoma State go find some 35-year-old that's trying to make a name for himself, that has a creative playbook that could have brought in, I guess Doug Meacham did bring in a quarterback, so I guess I can't really say that in all fairness. But why couldn't you go and find that offensive coordinator to switch things up from what you've been doing? And now it just seems like Doug Meacham just kind of like the mouthpiece for the offensive side of the football. And maybe that's what Casey Dunn was as well.
Here's what's crazy to me that I didn't hear talked about too much this offseason is how much of a ledge is OU going out on. They went and hired a guy, Ben Arbuckle, out of Washington State, when John Mateer is a great quarterback, but at Washington State, like in the Pac-12 last year. He wasn't playing in the Pac-12 of old, and he put up great numbers. He sat behind Cam Ward, who's a number 1 overall draft pick, but neither of these guys were highly recruited. And Arbuckle's 29. Like he turned 30 this week. And all of a sudden I'm going, man, what have I done with my life? I'm 32. But on another note, I mean, the guy is incredible. I mean, there's great other things, but I'm going, I didn't really put it together that OU went out on a limb and hired a 29-year-old guy from Washington State and thinking, hey, this could be the dude. And it's proven to be right. I would expect us to be the school going, hey, we're 3-9 last year. What can we do? Like, Ben Arbuckle was really highly touted. Maybe there was no chance. It's kind of you're saying OU's got the Jordan logo, they're OU, etc. They can go get him. And he probably doesn't think twice about that offer and taking it. Whereas maybe Brennan Marion with the go-go offense, UNLV, maybe there were a couple other guys shouted out last year. That was the one that I stuck with more. And, he went to go be the head coach of Sacramento State, who's doing okay, I guess. It's hard to compare them to anything else. I don't know. But I'm more amazed that OU went out on such a limb to go get a guy who's really unproven, and Gundy goes the other route. He hires a guy he knows, has known for years, has worked at Oklahoma State, and it just seems like this was not the year to do that. Of all years, could Gundy get fired on Monday if we don't beat Tulsa or if the game's close? And to me, it's possible, but I don't. What do you think? Do you think there's any way Gundy gets fired during the season?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I hope that's not the case. Look, if I'm not going to sit here and tell you, obviously, not to cut ties with Mike at the end of the season, because that looks like the direction we're heading in, and it looks like the direction you have to head in. But I hope it's not going to do anyone any good for Mike Gundy to be fired midseason. Now, if Mike Gundy went to Maryland University and this is his 4th year coaching, yeah, fire him midseason. But this is a guy that is one of your best quarterbacks of all time. Up until he became the coach, he had the best run Oklahoma State history by a quarterback with Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, 2 10-win seasons, 2 bowl wins in the 80s, which was very hard to do back then with the lack of facilities, the way OU was humming at the time, the scholarships, the unlimited scholarships that were in place. So what Mike Gundy did as a player was fantastic. And then obviously we all know about his head coaching run he's had here, which has been terrific. So I hope it doesn't end midseason, because I don't think that does anyone any good. That doesn't do the program any good. That doesn't do the players any good. That doesn't do Gundy any good. That doesn't do the fans any good. It does no good for no one. If you want to be knee-jerk reaction guy and just say get rid of him now, it's like, all right, if we lose to Tulsa on Friday, he's gone in November, in late November, early December, whatever it is. They're not going to win another game either way. And who's going to be the replacement? Who's going to be the interim guy? Doug Meacham? Like, that'd be the only guy it can be. Maybe Todd Grantham. But they give it to Doug since he's an alum here and he has coaching experience here. You're not going to – every other coach – I mean, they're all in their first year here outside of Doug, and it's his first year back in 10, 15 years or whatever it's been. So I hope they don't fire him midseason. I don't think that does anyone any good. And I want the breakup with Mike Gundy to be as clean and smooth as possible, because you know what? Next season, I want Mike Gundy, to, be shown like in a suite, like Boone Pickens used to be. Like, when they showed Boone in the suite, everyone would give a round of applause. Like, I hope that's what the case is with Mike Gundy. Like, I think it deserves to be Mike Gundy Field at Boone Pickens Stadium. He deserves to have a statue. So I don't think firing him midseason does anyone any good. And if that happens, I'm gonna be very mad at the decision makers on that one. I'm gonna be very, 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 very mad at that.
Yeah, I see it as this. No matter what, Gundy could retire at the end of the season saying, hey, I tried. Went full in on the portal this season, brought in 2 new coordinators, had 2 quarterbacks who were, we brought in the quarterback that was starting week 1 was the brand new guy, a different guy than I usually would have at quarterback, a running type, more mobile guy with Doug Meacham's kind of offense. It didn't work out. We didn't win a game. I'm more than happy to welcome on our next head coach here, whoever it is, and welcome to Stillwater. But I'm retiring and being able to basically have his, still have his head held high, like you're saying, be starting a suite next year and saying, hey, he tried. Because at the end of the day, like, you can control your own narrative when you're Gundy and say whatever you want to. But it is still bizarre that through this whole entire offseason, we didn't bring in, I guess, maybe maybe to me, the more I think it's bizarre is the quarterback room of like Zane, Haas, and then Banks Bowen transfer from Tulsa. Maybe Banks can give us a bunch of inside info we didn't have already and get us prepared for this game here. But really, like, seeing Malawaki Smith and Garrett Rangel transfer out after spring ball was a good sign that, hey, they weren't going to start, and now they're not starting at their new schools either, which I guess makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know. Virginia Tech seems like they could use a little bit of a change, but I'm happy that I'm really with you on that. Like, if Gundy is fired, I think we look like UCLA, who's getting made fun of just nationwide, week over week, and it probably honestly looks even worse because it's like what you said. Who are you replacing them with? Who's coming in to make energy shift or do something different? Where, Deshaun Foster had a handful of games at UCLA, so it's not really a comparison, but he was, fired over the weekend after a game, and now what does UCLA do? Like, what would Oklahoma State do, like we were saying? So on to some more of the fun side of topics. Who's been your favorite player so far? I know it's probably tough, but who's been your favorite player to watch so far?
I mean, from the offensive end, he had a very quiet game against Oregon. So I'm still kind of going off the UT Martin game.
Oh, we got to. I mean, we got 3 points in that game.
Yeah. I mean, nothing happened. The wide receivers, Fitzpatrick, Terrell Davis, I like a lot. And I love Gavin Freeman. I think he's going to be kind of Mr. Reliable this season, kind of like a poor man's Brendan Presley. So I like him a lot. And then defensive end, I mean, Brian McCoy. I mean, he's going to lead the team in tackles this season. He's led the team in tackles for the first 2 games. And then I love Wendell Gregory, but did he even record a tackle in that Oregon game? He had 2 tackles in that Oregon game. So Wendell Gregory, I'm a fan of just because I bought stock in him early. So yeah, I mean those guys, I guess.
I'm with you. It's tough. I would say.
We cannot forget Logan Ward.
Logan Ward, best player on the team.
Has yet to miss. Yeah, he hasn't messed up anything this season.
Yeah, I'll knock on wood just to make sure we don't jinx him because we need all the help we can get there, of course. I guess the bright spot I had from week 1 was Sesi Valahi. Of any guy in the running back room, I thought he would be the guy to transfer out. I thought he would be the guy to go, yeah, they're bringing in all these guys. They're bringing in Hicks and Fields. Looks like he kind of plays the same MO that I do and that type of stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised with what he was able to do in week 1. Of course, week 2 is different. But now I'm excited to see maybe what happens next year. And that being said, head coaching wise, there's been plenty of names thrown out. I've heard the Pistols firing Carson Cunningham guys, and you guys will kind of throw out Zach Robinson and others. What kind of guy would you want, though? Would you want a guy who maybe could be 10 plus years, but be a slower build where we're starting over, or we might have 4 wins next year, et cetera, or a guy who is bringing over a bunch of his guys? Could be the classic comparison is Kirk Cincinnati at Indiana, who brings over a bunch of James Madison guys, and all of a sudden they're in the playoffs next year. Which would you rather kind of think about and like to see Oklahoma State do next?
So Zach Robinson obviously is my first option because I think if he wants it, you got to give it to him, because if he does have success here, you don't have to worry about replacing a coach every 5 years. I'm not saying Zach's going to come here for 21 seasons like Gundy, but maybe you get him for 10 to 15 seasons and you sign up for that every time. But if you can't get Zach, get the instant success guy. Go get a Ben Arbuckle, Go get a guy like that, because if you're telling me, hey, the next coach is going to be here for 5 seasons, and in those 5 seasons, the lowest amount of wins you have is 7, and it's in year 1. And then after that, you get 8+ wins a season. Then you get a Big 12 championship, 2 Big 12, Big 12 championship, 2 playoff Big 12 championship appearances, and a playoff or 2 in 5 seasons. And then he leaves. It's like, yeah, sign me up. When he leaves, we can all hate him and make up names and stuff for him, like OU fans did with Lincoln Riley, or like whatever any crazy college fan base does when their coach leaves for a bigger, better job. But during those 5 seasons, we'd have a lot of fun. It'd be better than what we're going through right now. And you know what I say? If he leaves, go hire the next guy. Become the program if you want, where you're a stepping stone for guys who'll get bigger jobs. If Georgia wants to come take the Oklahoma State coach, it means he had pretty good success here. This means he probably had a pretty good quarterback at a point. So yeah, I would. Sorry, I'm getting a work text here. I don't need to go, but I might need to.
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Yeah, no, we're good. I did not upload the podcast today, so we're going to be multitasking real quick. I just got to press publish on it. But yeah, back to all that. Sorry, I got that. I was like, oh, you saw me do an oh crap right there. But yeah, go get the guy that can help you win and win now.
I'm with you. I would say if it's not Zach, then it's probably not Zach because he's doing so well in the NFL. I would say because the Falcons are in the playoffs, he's getting head coaching hype from I don't know, the Jaguars or whoever it may be. The Jaguars just hired a new head coach, so I don't know. But he's getting that kind of head coaching hype. Is Sean McVay actually retire after this season? He's always rumored to, even at a super young age. Then, okay, maybe it's not Zach. Maybe he's getting NFL head coaching type of recommendations and excitement. Then, yeah, let's go hire the Alex Golesh out of USF or whoever it may be that can bring in some guys, some transfers with them, and all of a sudden just make it basically instead of the really great adage is Oklahoma State would rebuild and OU would reload. Let's reload. Let's just have a season where we reload. It may not be reloading to 10 wins, but hey, 6 to 8 wins is always possible in the Big 12. It seems every single year. Why couldn't we do that? We play Tulsa again next year. Yeah. Theoretically, that'd be a win, I would hope at least, and an FCS opponent. So there's 2 you would think next season going in. But that's all saying we win this weekend. I'm much more in the same boat as you. If it's not Zach, then let's just kind of try to reload instead of go grab somebody who's, basically a current like high school coach that's an Oklahoma guy, Oklahoma State alum that just doesn't seem real well. The Brandon Whedon adage, Whedon's not in coaching in any way, shape, or form, so I don't think there's anything there, of course. And then the other names that I've kind of heard mentioned here and there was like, oh, what if some guy at a smaller school is all of a sudden emerging, and then we want to, see if he wants to come to us. Like you said, if he comes through Stillwater, he's at least going up. You're not going to basically to LSU if you're Les Miles, if you're not doing good at Oklahoma State. So we'd love to see that as well. Do you think that the expectations for the team have changed? I guess how much do you think the expectations have changed for the team after that Oregon game? Before the Oregon game going in, I kind of saw, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll be okay, but we gave up 55 points on defense, and there's no way you're winning the game against Oregon when you're doing that. We gave up 14 on offense because Zane threw 2 picks. But how much of your expectations for this team changed after that game?
After the UT Martin game, my expectations went from about 8 wins to 6 or 7 wins. It went down a little. After this Oregon game, it went from 6 or 7 wins to 4 wins, 3 wins, 2 wins, 1 win. It could be they're as bad as 69-3. Or it could be, they just got pummeled, but they can still win a couple conference games. Now, they're not – I would be shocked at this point if they make a bowl game. Like, if they make a bowl game at this point, I'd be like, wow. Like, if you told me right now they're making a bowl game. Because Northwestern didn't lose to Oregon as bad. Like, nowhere near. They covered the spread. It was a 24-point spread, and they covered it. They didn't lose nearly as bad. And I know it was at home, but that shouldn't make a difference between – covering a 24-point spread and getting your point spread doubled. Oh, more than doubled and a quartered, whatever it was. So, my expectations have after the first 2 games have gone down, and after the Oregon game, I'm like 2 wins, 4 wins, maybe 5 wins, maybe 3, maybe not another one. That's where I'm at.
What's crazy to me is that Northwestern Stadium is still being built, I believe, still being completed. So it's like on the water. Like, to talk about how, Northwestern probably doesn't have any real home field advantage to speak of previously. They definitely don't right now. They're playing on like a makeshift practice field that's on the water, on the Michigan lake. So Lake Michigan. So I'm with you. This comes to me to like, hey, I hope we get to 4 or 5 wins, win a couple Big 12 games. Maybe we do knock off Cincinnati. We face a team when they're not at full strength. We come in a situation where, hey, Haas comes back against Cincinnati, and then all of a sudden they don't know what to expect. They're a little bit, basically on their heels, and Brendan Zorsby doesn't have a great game. Who would have thought? And then all of a sudden we're pretty decent. From the rest of the Big 12, has any team really surprised you this season so far, besides maybe K-State just bottoming out?
K-State is not good. I think they're like last year Florida State kind of level. BYU, now they haven't really played anyone. They're better than what I thought they'd be. Houston is better than what I thought they'd be, although I thought they were going to be improved a year or 2 under Willie Fritz, who's a hell of a coach. TCU, I think, is a really good team. So no really surprises yet outside of Kansas State, which we've already mentioned. West Virginia, bad loss against Ohio, good win against Pitt. So, nothing really crazy so far. But when I was looking at this, and while we're having this conversation, what would be like the one fun way to end the season is Iowa State is what would they be 9-2, 2 conference losses, win and get into the Big 12 championship, and we play spoiler on the last game and give them a little revenge for what they've done to us in the past. That'd be fun. So that's like the most fun thing I think that could happen this season is like playing spoiler against Iowa State. That just kind of popped to my mind randomly.
I would love to see it. I'd love to see Wendell Gregory and a couple other guys who are younger class at Oklahoma State who at least want to improve their own stock as a player. If it's a new head coaching change and they may not know if they're still in Stillwater next year or not, these guys got a ton to play for no matter what. This is not the Alan Bowman and a bunch of other guys on the roster looking at the door already and Alan Bowman going, yeah, I'm not coming back for an 8th year. This is just a different situation. I'd love to see it overall. You know, I got to think though too, like Freddie Brock Jr. The guy's got to go. Man, I was going to come here, hopefully dominate this room, come from Georgia State, take another leap, and be incredible. I'm Trent Howland. I'm also entering kind of the last year of eligibility or second to last year. There's all these guys that have a lot on the line. Fitzpatrick, Terrell Davis. I mean, transferring from UCO. You've got all these guys that have just so much. But I can also say the same thing about last year. It just seems so weird to say, you know, Brennan Presley didn't have a lot or Ollie Gordon didn't have a lot. So I'm caught in the middle here of what's going on. I just hope this team doesn't like quit any game last year. And it seems bizarre to me that Vegas had it right for week 1, at least right more than I thought. I thought we'd cover the spread. I thought there'd be something kind of in the air a little bit. We hadn't unleashed the playbook. We hadn't done all this. But now it seems like, man, maybe we did. Maybe we just cannot block anyone. I'm hoping that Oregon's the best team in the country. That's at the end of the day, I'm hoping that Gundy said a couple words that Dan Lanning ran with to hype up his team, that Oklahoma State fans and really a lot of fans are not thinking we're too bad. But you call Dan Lanning's team, say Oregon sucks, they wear green. Lanning's going to use that as fuel. Doesn't matter, right? So what are we doing? And I'm excited at least to see how the rest of the season goes, because I do think this is Gundy's last year. Do you think so as well? There's almost nothing that would bring him back.
Yeah, even if they make a bowl game, I think it's over. It just seems stale. You know, it just seems stale, and it seems like it's at a stalemate. Now, granted, if he finds a way to make a bowl game, that's probably too early to say if he makes a bowl game with this team. That means he goes 4-5 in conference play, assuming they win on Friday. So if they go 4-5 in conference play, that maybe keeps his job, but I don't think so. Like I think it's over. I think just brace yourself, get your takes ready, get your tweets ready, get your clips ready for whatever that day is. Because sadly, I think it's over, and that sucks because I love Mike Gundy. Like he's probably my favorite sports figure of all time. But all good things must come to an end, and I've accepted it, and it looks like it just might be the best decision going forward. And again, like I just hope it's as smooth and graceful as a breakup as there could be, because I want him to be representing the orange and black wherever. Because I'm sure you've experienced this. Whenever you're out of town, whenever you go to Florida to go to the beach, or whenever you go to Colorado to go skiing, or if you're going to Chicago to see the city, or wherever you are, and you wear an Oklahoma State shirt, and someone wants to talk football or whatever with you, like, oh, Oklahoma State. The first thing that's ever brought up with any of these people is Mike Gundy. You know, anyone can say what they want about Mike Gundy. You can't argue that the guy is not a college football A-lister. If you're a college football fan, you know who Mike Gundy is. You know his famous moments. You know the success. You know the mullet. You know the I'm a man, I'm 40. You know his weird, taking off his shirt at random moments like we saw with Homecoming, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I guess it was longer than that. That was during the Rudolph era. Or, the I'm a man, I'm 40, the mullet, getting into it with Tom Herman, him always making noises at press conferences, which he did on Monday. People know who Mike Gundy is. He's an A-lister, and I hope that he will. All time heals all wounds. Mike Gundy is still a young guy. He's in 20 years he's going to be at Boone Pickens Stadium no matter what, cheering on the Pokes, even if it ends bad. I just hope that everything ends in good graces, and Mike Gundy is still high representation of Oklahoma State, because say what you want about the guy. He's an A-lister. He is.
Yeah, he really is. You're right. I was born out in California. So got a lot of family out there, and they know two things about Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Hey, have you seen a tornado? And what do you think of Mike Gundy? I know those are the main things. See, I mean, I wear an Oklahoma State shirt out anywhere, or for any of the places I've worked previously across different states, and it's, oh yeah, I know that guy. I know the I'm a Man, I'm 40 made the Consumer Cellular commercial this year. However many years later, which seems kind of wild. It took that long for someone to take advantage of that, but still, I should have been hitting him up, I guess, maybe at the same point, but. It's a wild thing. It's a wild regime change. I've got several brothers who currently one's a freshman and one's a junior in college, and both of them, that's all they've known. They've only known Gundy.
That's how I am.
I'm born in '93, so I know a little Les Miles, but I really know Les Miles from being the guy in elementary school who was winning, Stoops, we did it again. The back-to-back 02, 03 wins. I'm not the guy knowing anything before then. I don't know Pat White. I definitely don't know Barry Switzer, of course. So it is Mike Gundy, and it is the Mike Gundy era. And there's a little bit of me that wants to go, man, with Gundy, we almost always get this. But last year and this year, and the fact that Gundy took a pay cut, it seems to me the writing's on the wall. It's got to be this is kind of it. Dream situation, I guess, maybe putting you on the spot a little bit. If Gundy and Zach Robinson are not the head coach, would you want more of an offensive guy, defensive guy? What do you think would work best in the Big 12?
Offense. Football's defense still wins championships. Don't get me wrong. You still need a great defense. But, offense is football right now. Look at the best coaches in the NFL. Look at a lot of the best coaches in college right now. The coaches that are getting hired in college right now, they're all offensive guys. They're all offensive guys. And right now, what we're seeing in college football, especially this year, having a great play caller and having a veteran-laced quarterback is going to win you some games. No matter what your defense is or anything. So offense, all the way offense. But I will also, if it's a defensive guy, you best believe I will convince myself that he's the next Nick Saban.
Hey, if Jim Knowles is on the board and wants to come, I'm not going to say no, but I'm with
Jim
you.
Knowles is the one exception.
Jim
Knowles is the one exception. Yep.
He's the one exception. Otherwise, there's just no way. And I don't honestly think that guy at his current age would want to come coach a whole entire team. I just,
Yeah. Call me a lack of motivation. Call me, a lack of, or a underachiever or whatever you want to call it. Getting paid $2 million to just call one side of the ball and not having to worry too much about the portal, being at Penn State because, they want most – if you're at Penn State and you're playing, you're probably not going to leave. I know there's exceptions, obviously, but you're not really having to worry too much about the portal and stuff and, all the hoopla and craziness of college football. I can get by on $2 million just fine, just calling defense for the team I grew up liking. If I'm Jim Knowles, I'm not going to Oklahoma State, or I'm not going to Baylor, or I'm not. The only reason I'm taking a head coaching job is if a big time school offers me one. That's the only reason I do it.
Yeah, and that's what I struggle with for the John Mateer / Ben Arbuckle kind of combo of the the quarterback and new offensive coordinator going somewhere. If they're already at an SEC school, maybe I don't know, Arkansas pops up and gets open or whatever. You'd figure Arbuckle's going there. That's kind of the only thing that I think of too, is that seems such a division now between Big 12 and ACC versus Big 10 and SEC that I'm going to be perpetually worried of when does that brand new conference get announced of 40 teams and Oklahoma State's left out on the outside of it, and all of a sudden there's 6 teams from the Big 12 and ACC combined that are getting taken, and it's Miami, Florida State, I don't know, heck, North Carolina or Duke because of basketball mostly, and then 2 Big 12 schools, Utah. I don't know, right? That's what I'm always kind of like, man, one day I'm just going to wake up and there's going to be these announcements, all type of stuff, and it's going to be, hey, the brand new playoffs are taking 10 teams from the brand new conference and then 6 from the group of 5 conference or whatever it may be, right? Big 12, ACC, etc. So I'm always I'm always trying to hopefully think that just isn't the case. We'll kind of keep what we've got going for at least a couple more years and stop all the changes. But I don't know. Maybe I'm naive.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, it's wild times, man. It's wild times, and there's not a worse time for Oklahoma State football to begin to free fall like this. I'll say that. Long term, I think the program will be all right. I think they won't be left out of the table. But in 10 years, if the change happens in 5-10 years and Oklahoma State hasn't, picked it back up, you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, one ended out here with a quote that I don't think Gundy did early enough. I guess in his tenure, he could have done it with the NIL. We could have been the first team. We could have been the Big 12 team that was like all in on NIL, all in on the portal, kind of like how we were all in on brand new offensive schemes and stuff with Whedon and Blackman and everything. But instead, we're slow to the take. It could have worked out real well. It could still work out well in theory. We could go get Ben Arbuckle or Alex Golesh or Brennan Marion at Sacramento State or whatever, and it could work out. So I'm not all doom and gloom here, but when it's maybe we'll beat Tulsa or hopefully we do, it seems like a little bit of a darker outlook for Oklahoma State here. So Tyler, if you're not already and you don't know Tyler, please go follow him at Tyler's Takes on I call it still Twitter, but X, every social media you can. And then, of course, if you're not listening, what times and hours are you on the Sports Animal for people who are Oklahoma State fans who want to tune in?
So I do the pre and post game show. So 2 hours before the game and then directly following the game for about 2 hours. And then, every morning I'm on the Morning Animals from 5:30 to 9. So, you can catch me on there.
And then Friday night, you still be setting up in the same place across from Joe's?
We will be. Yeah.
So come listen and hear live, see the guy in person. So thanks so much again. And I'll come try to swing by and say hi again here hopefully on Friday. Fingers crossed we're all out with a W and we cover the spread and it's all, gloriful, and we're excited about playing Baylor the next week. And Zane looks like everything we imagined and more. So
one can hope. One can hope.
Fingers crossed. Well, Tyler, as always, thanks so much for joining here, and we'll catch you guys again soon.
Both adapt or die.
Hey, Cowboy fans. Today's episode is brought to you by Oakley Burklow, your go-to independent insurance agent and proud OSU alum. Oakley helps with home, auto, life, and business insurance, working with multiple top-rated insurance companies to find you the right coverage at the right price. Licensed in Oklahoma and Arkansas, call 918-280-9068 or email oakley.burklow@connectmyinsurance.com. Personal service, honest advice, and a fellow poke helping you protect what matters most.